Hello guys, and welcome to the second demo. In this demo what we're going to do is we're going to see how we can combine the first GPIO example with the ADC example that we saw together or separately in the last demo. So we're going to combine them together. So I'm actually going to start off with pretty much with say the empty example, the empty test. And so here you can see that's my empty, which is just has the blinking of the LED. Okay, and so now what I want to do is I basically want to kind of include the ADC part. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to look at what's basically done. So, and you can see that I also want to use the display and the ADC, ADC. So I'm going to copy these two, come to my empty, and I'm going to paste it over there. So I'm actually will be using those two functions, correct? And I also have my GPIO. That's okay. Everything else is good. Okay. So then I want to use my ADC. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm only going to do say the one value of ADC. So I'm actually going to do this ADC conversion values, because I'm only going to use one of the ADC channels, not both. So oops, right, make sure I have, oops, didn't copy. Still not copied. Okay, so that's been copied. So now what I want to do is I have to also make sure that I'm going to use over there was one more variable in my main function, which is this. So what I'm going to do is pretty much copy this, and I'm actually going to use the horizontal. So copy until this, then say successful, that also is included. I'm going to copy this until this, because this is going to be in my thread, and this is my main thread, so I'm just going to execute it as one. So over here, that's that. No conversion is needed. I'm not going to use that, display that. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. It's going to use my parameters. That's my resolution or result for the conversion. Everything is good. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do is the display. So and before I forget, I have to initialize this, put ADC init, initialize it. And also what I'm going to do is I'm actually will be using the display as in this case. So but the display is in here, right, in my main thread. So I'm actually going to use CI. That's basically what I did. I'm also going to do the display int, say I want to use the UART, and copy this section. Oops. So having problems with the copy. Okay, So also make sure that the display is there. I'm saying use the UART, right? And so I want to call it display, and I want to see so over here probably there's one more parameter. Let me check. Yeah, so that was that. I have to do a static display. That needs to be copied, which is in your main, so I'm going to use that too. Okay, yeah, so that's done. We got that covered. We're not using any of the functionalities. Then we have the ADC. You can print it, and now the display function. Okay, so now let's say and then it can display the error. But let's say if you want to just say if the value is less than a particular threshold, if we want to do something, so I'm going to write a small code in here. Let's say replace the while statement. Okay, and what I want to do with this while statement is, okay, so what I did is I'm going to toggle the LED 0, yeah, as you can see, and I'm also, what I'm going to do is I don't know if that's going to work, so let me just, oops, right, so that's there. So I'm going to do, oops, I'm just using, so that's actually called, I just copied from the previous one, so it's actually should be it's actually called display, right? Okay, so that's going to be called print to the display. What else is that? Okay, that's going to be put to the display. Anything else? Okay, so what I'm also trying to do is one of these guys will be toggling, and that keeps a count, so I have to do something, keep a track of it. So I'm gonna add that variable to over here. Okay, so I'm going to keep a count of a count, so therefore one of the LEDs is going to keep on toggling every time it reads an ADC value, so I know how much values are there. And when I come in, I take my ADC value, should be 0, correct? That's what it is. And actually, since I'm actually displaying it there, I've opened it. Did I open it here? I do just the conversion, so I don't need this. I'm actually going to put it and display it in a big statement. So I open it, make sure everything is initialized, ready to go, and make sure my GPIOs are okay. And in this case, I'm going to only, I'm actually just configuring 0, but the 1 will be configured by probably the GUI. So let me right click on this, go and open the system config, and what I have to say now is that I need this ADC, and it's going to be called 0, etc. And yep, so it's going to be like ADC 0, and it's going to be on DIO 23, which means I'm going to only use the horizontal one. So once I'm done with this, let me go to the GPIOs. As you can see, I only one GPIO, which is GPIO LED 0. But if you go here, I also have the the green LED to indicate the threshold. So my threshold is, what, I'm going to make my threshold 1500. So if it is kind of in the center or a little bit greater than the center, it's going to trigger. So come over here, and I don't have another GPIO, so I'm going to add this over here. Click on this, and I have to say it's config, and say I called it LED1. Oops. Okay, so config LED1. I want to use it as a green one. make sure everything else is there. That's it pretty much. And I'll have to also go into, let's say, 1 second, where is my, okay, I need to go to my display. Okay, searching for that. So go to display, enable it, and that's config display 0. I believe that's what I used somewhere. But yeah, this is config display 0. But what you want to do is you want to use it of display type UART. So we are going to go there and make sure that this, yeah, is that uses the UART. That's the baud rate. Everything is set. It's all good. Okay, so we can actually close these guys. Don't need it. Let's see if I can run this, rebuild it. Hopefully I don't have any errors. There you go, I have some errors. Let's see, ADC value 0. So I think I use ADC value 0, but somewhere else I'm actually calling ADC value convert into ADC value 0 is what I should be displaying, right? I have to check if the ADC value is greater than that. Okay, rebuild the project. Yep, so looks everything is good. Yep, and now I click on it. Let's say debug, and let's open the terminal over here. Select your port. Say that's the default rate I did, and there you go. So it basically tells you it's running, and since it's in the center, it's actually going pretty fast. And what I want to do is, let me stop. It's like too fast. Let me put in the delay or manipulate the delay and then see what happens. Okay, so I'm actually using microstep time, and my time is 1. So let me put that, since it's micro, let me put it something like that, or it's just microseconds, right? So let me put that, so it's 0.1, or let me even increase that to a little bit greater, which is 1 second, right? And I'm going to right click, rebuild the project. So the previous case, I think we did sleep time as 1 second, but this time I just used the function micro sleep. So alright, so that's why you have these crazy counts that are coming there. And now, yeah, so it's too fast, but let's say for the test purpose, you can see I moved all the way to the left, so it's giving you a value of really small value. If I move it to the right, you can see the numbers 3000, and so to leave it in the center is 15. And the other thing you want to note is there you go, when I pull it left, you can see that the green LED goes off. If I leave it, the value is greater than 1500, the green LED is on. If I move it further, 3000, LED is on. So when I move it a little bit, so even if I touch it, you basically get that. So that basically tells you that the program is working as intended, and that will be the end of this tutorial. Thank you.